Wow.
Hey!
Welcome.
We just had the strangest countdown ever. You guys did not experience it. I apologize, but it was amazing.
What did you do? 1-3 or 3-1-2? Jesse. I said 2, interrupting Jesse's like right after Jesse's 3, and he went to 1, and I was surprised because it was like he was expecting me to say 2, but then he went up to 2 again. I wasn't sure when we were gonna start from there.
It
But
was weird.
yep,
And then all of a sudden, here we are.
yep. Caught us off guard.
Yes.
Welcome to
Yes.
welcome to Don't.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
It is. It's wonderful to be here with you guys, uh, as always.
He's good.
And yeah, you guys are great. So this is Don't Worry Wednesday. It's a show where we handle any issues, challenges, any confrontations, or those kinds of things that you may be experiencing in your life. We're not professional therapists or counselors or police officers or attorneys or doctors or anything like that. We just want to be your friend and we want to help in any way we possibly can. Because sometimes I've learned, I've been through therapy before for different issues that I had, and I remember that one of the things that helped that whole process so much was just having an outside perspective on things.
Mhm.
It wasn't necessarily the fact that there was a professional helping me, although that was helpful at the time. And there was definitely a time for that and a place for that. And we've referred people. We've said, hey, this issue might be worth talking to a professional about for sure. But a lot of times, while you're going through that, it helps to have some encouragement, some love, and some friends along the way to help you through. And that's
Mhm.
what we want to do here. So we just love you guys, and we're so happy to be affiliated with you. You've met our chat room hostess, Princess Yellow. She's amazing and wonderful. Our producer, who was counting weird, that would be Jesse. Those of you who have not met him, go to bss.studio and say hi. He's the administrator over there. And I'm Joe, and with me is Ryan, the Static P.
That's right. The Static P.
The Static P?
That is my middle name.
Yeah, the is your beginning name,
Oh,
also known as first.
is it?
Yeah.
Not in Japan.
Static the P.
Static the P.
Oh, Princess, you're welcome. You're so amazing. Like you do so much just by handling the chat for us. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
seriously. That's true. We really appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, so welcome everybody. I've noticed a few people that are here. Cherry, I see you're here, and I see you're going by the name Echo on at bss.studio, and you have a time sensitive um issue. Would you like us to cover it even though you're studying your Japanese right now? I'd hate to break your focus too much, but you're here.
Yeah. Do you want us to do it or not?
We'd be happy to.
If we do, we can spend an hour on it. We'll have to spend half an hour. Okay. Yes, please.
Yes. Yes, please. Okay. So here's what I'll do.
Which one was the time sensitive one?
It's called Difficult Times.
Okay.
And here's the link. So now you guys can read along. And yeah, so we'll just get started with this one because
oh, it's a cool.
you're awesome.
First profile picture.
Yeah, it is. So, all right. So this is posted by Echo, also known as Cherry, and it's called Difficult Times. And it goes like this. I've never labeled any of my posts urgent or time sensitive for a reason. Why? Well, I never feel like, and I try to make it clear that my problems are never more important than anyone else's. At least that's the case when it comes to my own personal issues. If I'm posting a topic for someone else's sake and to help another person other than myself, I like to make it seem more urgent and necessary because it is to me. I just function that way. My problems are smaller than everyone else's, and I guess that's why I believe it's fine for me to post my issues so often. Because to me, it's nothing big. Other people's problems are more of my concern, but these have been some really difficult times for me recently. That aside, I'm going to get to the actual post now. Thank you for that. That's says a lot about who you are, Cherry. So that's awesome. Um, as discussed in previous posts that may be read after or before this one, I guess it just depends. I've been through a lot these past 2 months. I was banned from a server I held dearly to me. My faith has begun slipping away. I feel another major change taking place. I've never felt a change like this since I lost my first group of friends. I also happen to find a relationship that I feel loved in. However, now there are signs pointing to the fact that she might be cheating on me. I mean, she does flirt with other people as a joke, but I've been finding more and more clues pointing to the possibility that she may be taking it further than just a joke. None of that is the issue I want to talk about. That's the top of the iceberg, what lies on the surface. But what happens behind the scenes, behind all the drama that is seen, nothing that happens is 2D. I never really talk about my personal real life. Why? Because I've always been afraid that people would think I'm whining about non existent issues. The only time I've talked about my issues real life is when I just mentioned that I am invisible amongst my peers because that's a common feeling I think people have and often mention. This topic has hit me really hard though. Part of the reason it's time sensitive is because my mom wants me to talk to her about it and give her my thoughts. But it's all so, I don't even know. It's hard to wrap my mind around and collect my thoughts. I wasn't born on purpose. If you're a pessimist like me, the simpler term of putting it would be that I'm a mistake. Although, if you're an optimist, you'd probably use the word blessing. In all honesty, I'd like to think of it in both ways, maybe even considering it an anomaly. Mhm. That aside, when I was young, my parents got divorced, seeing as they weren't married because they actually loved each other. My mom got married to my stepdad, and then my two little sisters were created. I've known and lived with my mom and stepdad since I was only 3. For the past few months, they separated themselves from each other. I could tell something was going on, and I was right. My mom and my stepdad are divorcing. The papers have already been filed. My stepdad was and is physically and verbally abusive, which is why my mom made the decision she did. The relationship was never really on a solid platform. I'm worried for how my sisters will be, seeing as they look up to him as their hero. Another thing that scares me is the fact that I don't know all of the answers. Will we have to move now? What will life be like now? Either way, I want to accomplish great things and I'm going to keep trying my best, but things are going to be so different than what I've been used to most of my life. Will my mom find someone else or will I have to live in 3 separate families now? I guess I just need help gathering all of my thoughts on everything. I don't know what to think or feel about this. Happy that I won't have to live in fear of how intimidating my stepdad is and worry about him getting mad over anything I say. Sad that things won't be what I'm used to and that we may have even less money now and not have as prosperous of a life as with my stepdad. I wish things could have at least lasted until I graduated in 2020, but that would be less difficult on my behalf. But at the same time, at least we won't have to deal with this rage and my mom will be okay. I don't know what to feel. I don't know what to think. It stressed me out, paralyzed me, and made me terrified because so much of my future is now hazy and unknown. I had a plan, and while my end goal is still the same, my means of reaching out is now all blurry. And what do I tell my mom when she talks to me about it? And that's from Echo,
Hmm.
also known as Cherry.
Like how the E and echo is 3 lines.
That is
um,
cool. I don't know how you did that, but I think it's sweet.
that's pretty cool.
But anyway, wow, that is that's a lot going on, and there's a lot of pain involved with that. Not just yours, but also your mom's, and I'm sure there's pain in your stepdad. He wouldn't lash out if he wasn't in pain. There's a lot of things. I mean, divorce is one of the most difficult things that people have to endure, and I'm so sorry that you're going through this. But I know there's a way through it, and Ryan knows a lot of the way through it, and that's why I'm going to turn it over to him first.
All right. Yeah, sure. It sounds like you're definitely going through a lot. Obviously there's a lot of things weighing on you, and this is just another thing that definitely makes a big impact on your life, you know? So yeah, I feel for you. I hope that you can stay positive during these times, because I think that is really important. I always try to look to the bright side, of course. And I think so. One thing to keep in mind is this: you are not, so you are only you, right? You are only yourself, and you are not other people, right? You are not responsible for other people's actions, right? And other people's actions don't make you who you are. Mostly. Like, if your mom and your stepdad get divorced here, right? That doesn't change who you are, and doesn't change whether you're able to accomplish different things in life. So I like that you say that, you're still going to be going through life trying to accomplish great things. And perfect. I think keeping that mentality and attitude, keeping that in the forefront of your mind is really important. So keep that up. That's definitely something that's important.
Mm-hmm.
It's, my dad was at the time when my mom and dad got divorced, my dad was an angry alcoholic. And he doesn't remember a lot of it. Let's just say that. And but that doesn't make me who I am inside, right? And that what that means is that it doesn't have to force me to feel a certain way. Rather, even though my mom and dad got divorced, right? Even though my dad was an angry alcoholic at the time, that doesn't make me an angry alcoholic, right? And doesn't mean that my happiness can't be real, like a reality. Doesn't mean that I can't be happy, right? It only means that these are my circumstances in life. And then it just comes to, what do I do to keep myself happy and move through this situation in the best way possible? And I think that's a good question to always ask yourself. What's the best result here? What's the best way to move through this? And asking yourself like questions like that is important, because then you know what your goal is every step along the way. And then that helps you to find what the right answers are. You know, what is the best answer? So maybe like when your mom talks to you, right? And you don't know what to say, you don't know how to respond to her. If you just ask yourself the question, what's the best outcome? What can I do to make things the best possible? And if you relay that question to her, or that sort of thing, I think that will start moving everything in the right direction, because now you've got your heart set on, your focus set on what is right and what is good and what's best, right? So in my life, I noticed that makes a big impact. If I'm suffering through something, right, and I don't have my eyes set on what can I make good of this, if I don't have my eyes set on the best outcome, then it's really easy to slip up and make all the wrong decisions. Because then my focus is on myself and my emotions, and trying to solve those issues without actually making any progress. What I end up doing is, I think what a lot of people would do is just kind of grasping for something here and now that feels good. Whether that be, just walk away from it all and go to bed, or ignore the world and play video games, or maybe even insult somebody so that I can feel good, even though that's weird and broken and backwards. People do that. Maybe blame something on somebody. Maybe something's bad and then I don't like it, so I just break out and just blame other people and show them their evils, even though they already know about it. All of those things happen a lot of times because my mind is not focused on making things right, doing things the best I can, putting the best and the most good into the world. When my eyes are focused on what can I do to put the most good into the world at any given moment, then those emotions don't overwhelm me so much. And it gives me a clearer mind to then address whatever situation is in front of me. And so I think that, getting a divorce it's a bad thing. It's a sad thing. It's an unfortunate thing. It's one of those things where it's like the people who are getting divorced and their children and the people around them have this like, yeah, I wish they were able to work it out. I do wish that they could have worked it out. And that's always going to be the case. That's always going to be the case. That's always going to be in their mind like, yeah, I wish I would have worked it out. Okay. But at the same time, sometimes, like we've talked before, it's better to love someone from a distance. It just is. Like in the case with my father, who was, a drunk alcoholic or angry alcoholic, semi-abusive, very emotionally abusive, very, yeah, it's just not good for the house, not good for anybody, not good for himself. Sometimes to put the foot down and say, you are acting like this, and therefore I'm taking away our relationship. Something that's dear to that person, sometimes that gives them the right mind to think with. Believe it or not, because of that issue, because my mom divorced my dad started to, whether I don't know exactly what went through his mind, but I do know that he started to change. He started to look at taking medication, which was Ritalin, to help put his mind in the right place. He started to, actually, he just stopped drinking altogether at some point. And those are good things. And he started to move forward in himself. And he became a different person. He became a person that you could be around and enjoy. Someone that's funny, someone that you could laugh with and hang around, and that's awesome. And that would not have happened if there wasn't something that made him change. If there wasn't something that really just woke him up and made him face a reality, was like, okay, yeah, he has to make some kind of change here, because he's realizing that what he's doing, not only does he know it's not good, he also figures out firsthand, oh, now I'm reaping what I've sown. I'm dealing with the problems that I've created. And I need to fix this now so that I don't create more. And I think that's great. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that will happen for your stepfather, or your mother, or whatever needs to increase in them. But I can say that this is one of those things that can create that. And maybe pray for that and say, you know what? Here's the thing. No matter what happens in life, God is still good. And I know you said you're kind of losing your faith, right? But no matter what happens in life, whatever happens around us, God is still good. And so you can pray to God and say, God, make the best out of the situation that you can. And I hope that in the end, it all works out in your favor, right? Something as simple as that. It's a good prayer, easy. But it allows you to put something in somebody else's hand, because you can't change your situation that you're in right here. You can't change your mom. You can't change your dad or your stepdad or any of those, so kind of giving it up and saying, you know what, all I want is for the best. And I hope the best comes of this. Whether it does or not isn't up to me. And so it's nothing I should worry about. But I do hope that the best comes of this. And then move on. Because unfortunately, sometimes that's all we have. That's all we can do. our life isn't taken away from us in this moment. We can still have a life to live and have greatness in us and ability to do great things. And this is one of those things that just kind of like, man, I wish this didn't happen in my life. But you know what? Life goes on, and many great things can happen from here. So um that's kind of what I've got for now. And I'm gonna let Joe talk for a little while.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate what you said, and I'm glad that you had the perspective of being a child in a divorce situation, where, especially in the case where there was some abuse going on, because that mirrors this situation, in some ways like that. Because seriously, like, a lot of times, I mean, we live in a culture where there's so much divorce, and a lot of times it's not really a situation where they need to get divorced. They probably could work it out if they tried. But in a case like this, where there's abuse going on and there's safety to consider, then yes, it's appropriate to separate, and it's appropriate to, seek a civil divorce in that case, because, I mean, really, for your own safety and for your mom's safety. I mean, it's really, it can be a way, and good can come from it, as in the case what Ryan's dad went through, where, this situation where it's like, it really, maybe it made him step and take a look at his life, and just, whoa, like, what's happening here? I need to make some changes. All this is happening. That can be the case too. So I just, for one, I really wanted to say, I'm sorry. But sometimes our biggest challenges and hardships can be real defining moments for us. And I know that this is hard. I am not a child of divorced parents, but I know many of them, and I know that it's hard for them, and I know that it kind of messes with them to some degree, because you got to process all these thoughts of, why is this happening? Is it partly my fault? There's all kinds of turmoil inside that can happen, especially if now how old were you when your parents divorced, Ryan?
Oh, I was oh shoot, 6 maybe.
Okay, so you were definitely cognizant of what was going on.
I knew what was going on.
Okay, all right. So sometimes people get divorced, and the kids are little and they don't even remember. They don't even know what it was like to have both parents around. But yeah. So sometimes these challenges can really, really help us to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And it can help you reach harder for what you're reaching for. And I love how you say that your goals are still the same. Your end goal is still the same. But the means of reaching is now blurry. Because sometimes, yeah, our goals, we have this goal that we want to hit. We have stuff we want to do with our life. But then we start thinking, okay, this is the path I'm going to take to get there. And it's good to plan out your path. But you know what? Rarely have I hit a goal where the path was what I expected it to be. It's very rare.
It's very rare.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I set a goal to do something, and then I'm like, okay. And then you plan your steps kind of, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then but what happens is the world crumbles and falls apart. And then you're just, what do I do now? And, and you pick up the pieces and you try again and you do something. And then all of a sudden, it's out of nowhere, something comes in to help you. And you're like, what? And then, like, then all of a sudden you're there. And you're like, that did not happen like I expected it at all. And you just kind of sit there like you just got sucker punched, and
You get sucker punched and then fed the best dinner of your life. It's like, what just happened?
like, whoa, what's going on? But yeah, keep that end goal. You know, keep it and focus on it. And here's one thing I like to do when things are really crazy, because it sounds like things are about to get kind of crazy. You know, there's so many unanswered questions. Where are we going to live? How are we going to live? How are we going to spend all this time? You know, are we going to go week to week, different places? Are we going to go week here, weekends there? You know, are we going to, you know, how is all that going to work? And you just have no answers. There's so much up in the air. Mm-hmm. And when I have moments like that, where I just cannot figure out what's going on, and there's unexpected things happening all the time, you know, it's crazy. What I try and do is consciously tell myself to slow down. Just slow down and relax, because things are going to happen all around you. But one of the best things you can do and be for your mom and your sisters is someone who's calm, someone who just is taking it easy and not, like, when you do that, how that works for me lately, it's been a lot of times, if I know I'm going to be doing inspections when there's lots of traffic and lots of people, like when school gets out and there's people all over the place and kids and traffic, and I'm still in the city, I try to be out of the city by then, but you know, like sometimes it doesn't work that way. And I know it's just going to be absolutely nuts for like an hour.
Especially trying to do your actual job with all those people around.
Right, exactly. It's crazy. So what I tell myself is, I consciously tell myself, I need to slow down, because this is going to be really stressful for a while. And one of the things that I've always done is survived it. Whether I freaked out or not, you know, I still survived at the end of it. And so that's another thing I can tell you. You're going to survive. You're going to get through. And it's going to be okay. Just because there's a whole bunch of stressful stuff going on around you doesn't mean that you have to participate in the stress part. You can slow down and calm down, knowing that in the end, you're going to turn out okay. And there's a poem I just read, and I was looking for it. It's called, okay, here we go. I found it. No, I don't want a free workout. What the heck? Hold on.
Oh my gosh. You're already like,
I
already work out for free.
The only place I find this is on a like a person who has a page that does exercising.
Oh, okay.
But it's a poem by Blaine Jorgensen, and it's called "The Monument." And let's see. I'll just read it. I don't necessarily want to send you guys to this website, because I don't want you to be like thinking I'm promoting somebody who's trying to sell you workouts and stuff, because I don't know anything about them yet. But it says, God, before he sent his children to earth, gave each of them a very carefully selected package of problems These, he promised, smiling, are yours alone. No one else may have the blessings these problems will bring you. And only you have the special talents and abilities that will be needed to make these problems your servants. Now go down to your birth and to your forgetfulness. Know that I love you beyond measure. These problems that I give you are a symbol of that love. These monuments you make of your life with the help of your problems will be a symbol of your love for me, your father. And I read that. I was handed that poem by a guy that I don't really know very much. Um, he just sees me at church. You know, we don't really talk or whatever, but he knows. I mean, I don't really know very many people at that church, but you know, he kind of knows that there's a bunch of stuff going on that I got to figure out in my life. And he handed me this, and it really made a huge difference because it was like, oh yeah, so many times I hear my problems are really just things that I can build successes off of. But this put it in a whole new perspective. It's like the problems that you face are like tailor made for you because you've got the special abilities to overcome them, to figure them out and to solve them and to get through them. And what results is a life that, yeah, you get some scars and yeah, you get some hardship and yeah, you get some pain. But that experience, in the words of this poem, builds a monument of a life. And I totally love that imagery because it's so true.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And so I just really want to encourage you that even though it's crazy and hard, you can slow down and remember it's going to turn out okay. And these problems can be used to build you. And if you got to go talk to your mom, and it sounds, I mean, you do need to go talk to your mom and talk to her about what's going on.
Definitely, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, she says she wants to talk to you about it, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure she just wants to get what you're feeling about it, and you can be honest about your feelings. Be honest about the confusion. Be honest about, you know, what's all going on in your head. You know, your mom is scared too. I'm sure of it. But this could be a great time for you guys to bond and, you know, share some of that. And, you know, I don't know what to do, but I really want to try, you know, to get through this with you. And you can show your love for your mom and say, you know, I'm scared. I'm confused. I don't know what to make of all this. I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to get through this together with you. And, you know, then that way, at least both of you know you have each other in your corner with you. You're not in it alone. And listen to the song No One's in This Alone by Static P.
Yeah.
So anyway, Brian, do you have anything else?
No, not. I guess I do, but it's kind of like just something to testify, kind of what you were talking about. You know, I so what a couple of years after my mom and dad divorced, my mom remarried, and she married, um, well, I won't give away names, but she married another guy, who was then my stepdad, and you know there was definitely some relational problems there between him and me and my brother, and eventually, what happened was he cheated on my mom,
Mm.
and so my mom and him got a divorce as well. Even though she really didn't want to, she's not the kind of person that just wants to divorce people, you know, no one really does. Um, and so she kind of was cheated on, and she, you know, she was like really upset, and he wasn't treating her right. And even after she figured it out, and she told him they figured it out, things were not right, and so she and him got a divorce. Um, and a short while after, my house burnt down to the ground all the way. Like, the only thing we had were things that were entirely soaked, um, and charred. Everything smelled like smoke, and everything was covered in black. It was crazy. But yeah, the house burnt down all the way to the ground, and I happened to be in the house when the house started burning down. And because I was home alone from school because I was sick with a temperature the day before of 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the point at which people usually start hallucinating and getting actual brain damage and stuff like that. So anyways, I was home from school, and some weird beeping noise happened, and I let it go for like half an hour or more because I didn't know what it was, and I was downstairs just, minding my own business. And then all of a sudden I went upstairs and I couldn't see anything, and I was like, okay, I gotta get out of here. So anyways, when you feel like everything's up in the air, right? Like Joe was talking about, you don't know what your life's going to be. All of a sudden, everything is different. Part of your family is gone. Your housing situation, that's going to be different, right? You might have to move. You might move to a different place, different town. You don't even know what's available to you, right? And that's kind of the situation that me and my family was in. My brother, myself, and my mom. Because, when the house burns down, where do you go? And so she asked around, she asked her friends, and, she luckily was a realtor. And she knew somebody that had a house. So we moved into a different house, and it was somebody else's house. But they happened to be on vacation for a period. They lived in Florida. So we got that for a few months, and then we had to move again. And then we moved again. And we moved, I think, a total of 7 times in 2 or 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
It was a lot. It's a lot.
That's a lot of moving.
Yeah, it's not too hard to move when you don't have anything, though.
Because it all burnt.
Because it all burned down, right? Yeah, you don't have anything, so it's like not that big of a deal. But anyways, so things like that happen in life, And you know what? When that happened to me, I was like, partially bewildered, and I was like, I can't believe this happened. I went to school feeling a strange feeling. Not like I lost everything, but more like I just gained something. As weird as that is, I went to school being like, my house just burnt down, like to the ground. Like, I'm telling people this, I'm telling my teachers, I'm telling people who hate me, I'm telling, students or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, so like, this is weird. I don't know what's going to happen now. I don't even know where I'm going home to right now. So when I go, I guess I'll figure that out later. And so, yeah, I mean, that was life, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as it sounds, right? When I say it, it sounds like, oh man, that must have been terrible. That must have been terrifying. That must have been awful.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that bad. You just go through it and you're like, okay, this is happening. Okay. Continue on. Like, go. All right, let's go. Let's figure it out. And it was like, yeah, like I said, like it was like I gained something. And that was a lot, believe it or not. I gained more wealth from that experience than I had in material goods, because I got to watch my mom handle all of it.
Mm.
I got to watch my mom say, you know what, I had all of those things, but they don't matter that much. What mattered were the things that got out of the house, which were my kids, and everybody's safe. Mm-hmm. And that taught me a lot. That taught me a lot about the value of a human being being way more precious to my mom than anything else. And that taught me about myself. And the thing that she said she got sad for the most was that she lost her pictures, but she still has the memories. And also taught me a lot about how to get through problems, how to get through giant struggles where everything in life changes. You can just continue on, just one step at a time, because that's all life is, one step at a time. So, yeah, I just wanted to end with that and say, you know what? You can get through this, and you will find this scenario to be a blessing in the future, like Joe was talking about. I see you got to go to Japanese, so I'll let you go. But yeah, have an awesome day, or evening, I should say, and we hope to see you soon, Sherry.
Yes, and here's a link, another link I found for that poem. This one doesn't have any additional, weird marketing. Like the other one had the other place I found it, like when you went to click away from it, it like had a pop-up thing. It was like, hey, whatever. And so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to share that. That's fair.
Yeah. So at any rate, but there's that. Apparently it comes from a book called Charlie's Monument by Blaine M. Jorgensen. I might have to read that book now.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. So anyway,
nice.
But yeah, Echo, thank you so much for posting and sharing, and hopefully some of what we shared was helpful. And our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
We wish you the best. You can handle it. Just take it one step at a time. Slow down. Take one step forward, and look for the good, and you'll find it. Look for the good, and you'll find it. It's always there, everywhere. And
yeah. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Onwards and upwards. What we need to figure out who's here.
Yeah.
And what we got available. Everybody say your name.
At the same time.
At the same time.
1, 2, 3, go.
Go. We didn't even say go at the same time.
Yeah, Princess's name is Much Love. Okay. Oh, Princess's name is Cloudy. Are you here? Okay. That's slightly different than what I thought. Sorry.
Apparently, Akil's name is Ryan Andrew Seawald.
Whoa. Ryan Andrew Seawald. Wow. That's my name. That's weird. We share a name. Except for my name is Ryan Andrew Giovanni Bosco Seawald. I have a long name.
You do have a long name.
Yeah.
Mine is not that
Seawald,
long.
like it's Seawald, because Seawald sounds cooler.
Seawald.
It is German, so it should be pronounced like a German name, right? It sounds better than Seawald. I like Seawald. Seawald. Jack. Never would have guessed, I bet. Yeah, with a name like Jack Mabel, or is that Mabal? I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but Jack. Yep, fair. Oh, Frost's name is Princess. Hi, Princess. And Comfort Cloud is here. Comfort Cloud, sweet.
Yes.
Well, then let's jump on that one, eh?
Yeah, I'm assuming this is Cloudy. And yeah, so and it's the one How to Open Up, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I guess Princess confirmed that Cloudy is the same person that, or anybody confirm. Cloud could confirm as well. Cloudy. Comfort Cloud, are you Cloudy? Wow, we're getting all sorts of people talking about their names. This is great. Hey guys, welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I pronounced it right the first time. That's pretty good. Hey, Margin D. Oh, okay. Comfort Cloud is Cloudy.
Yes. And Princess already posted the link. I was going to post the link, but Princess beat me to it.
Hey, Rosie. Welcome. Nice to see you.
All right. So this is from Cloudy, and it's called How to Open Up. And Princess posted the link. So you can click it and go to it. And it goes like this. Hi there. I'm one of those types of people who care more about another person's feelings than themselves. I never open up about my feelings to my friends because I don't want to be a bother to them. I've been dealing with depression for the past year and haven't really told anyone about it. I want to tell my friends, but I don't know how or if they will get it. I usually just joke around instead of being serious. So I don't really know how to bring this up to them. If you have any advice on what to say or how to bring it up, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hmm.
And Cloudy, first of all, thank you for posting and being a part of the show. And thanks for sharing with us um, this that you don't really share with anyone else. It's an honor that
Mhm.
that you would come and share with us this. So hopefully we can steer you in the right direction. I know that I dealt with that quite a bit when I was in high school and then in college as well. I dealt with depression for quite a long time. So um, hopefully I'll have some personal experience that can help with that. But I'm going to turn it over to Ryan first and let him and see what he has to say.
Sure. Um, yeah, this is a really interesting subject, Cloudy. I want to let you know that you're definitely not alone in dealing with this.
Right.
Lots of people are dealing with this themselves. And so I'm really glad that you shared it with us, just like Joe said. And again, honored as well. So this is an interesting thing. So in high school, I myself had a bit of depression and in different parts of life. And I don't think I ever actually brought it to anybody's attention myself. Um, I was able to, luckily, able to get through it without ever having to necessarily make it known or open up to anybody about it. And a lot of that was because I was able to put myself around the right people who were lifting me up and try to be the kind of person that lifts other people up and create um, that surrounding for myself. Um, so through my life, I think that Joe might be able to relate to you better on this, but through my life, I think that one of the most important things that I learned about depression is that depression is caused by two things. It's two habits, all right? And this is what I figured out about, learning through it by going through it firsthand, and also looking at other people and how they were dealing with their own depression and things like this. Um, but yeah, the two things that depression make human beings depressed are these. One, it's a habit of being negative, right? You see things negative, you see things in a negative light. And the other part that of this habit is crucial is that you focus it on yourself. So when you look at the world, you see yourself in the negative light. Like you might look at people and then you think that they judge you poorly. Or you look at yourself inside and you point out all of your problems and you notice all of these bad things about you. Being depressed a lot of times is about how you treat yourself because you're a human being and you actually have a relationship with yourself, which is really interesting because we don't really generally think about that because you know, we're ourselves. But we have many friends in life. We have many people that we encounter. And one of those people that we encounter are ourselves. How do we treat ourselves inside? How do we see ourselves inside? What do we think of ourselves? And I think these are questions that are really important. When I was depressed, I think that a lot of times that caused me to recede and make it even harder for me to open up to people. Just like you know, no one wants to be a bother to other people. But I think it's important to remember that a friend is somebody who's on your side. A friend is somebody who's fighting for you, someone who will fight for you, who's in the battle with you, this battle of life, to reap the beautiful rewards and victories that life has in store. That's what a friend is. A friend is someone who walks by your side and who desires the best for you, right? Sharing your problems with that kind of person could be the best thing you can do. And so I could see why you'd want to open up, right? But when we're negative towards ourselves, we automatically assume all these bad things, right? We come to think like, I'll open up, I'll share it with them. But then what if they just turn me down? That would destroy me inside. Or what if they walk away or they say, like they don't want to be my friend anymore because they aren't having fun with me anymore because I'm not joking and being funny. And what if they just don't like me anymore because I said something, to them? I get it, right? That's kind of thoughts. See, we're being negative. We have to make sure we also look at the positive and towards ourselves and say, but what if they really open up with me and say, yeah, that sounds awful. I want to be there for you. And they start treating me differently. We're scared of difference, but at the same time, that's what we want, don't we? We're scared of things being different,
Mm.
but that's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's funny, right? Our fears often prevent us from doing exactly what we need to do. And so when we discover that about ourselves, when we find out like, oh, I'm not doing this because I'm afraid of who I might become. I'm not doing this because I'm afraid of what my life might become, that my life actually might get better. Because I don't want things to change and get worse, but it might become better. Life is full of opportunities, and if we never take any, we never know where we could have gotten, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what path you take in life, happiness is always available to you. No matter what path you take in life, there's always a door that leads to good, a door that leads to God, a door that leads to greatness.
Mm-hmm.
There's always that door open, no matter what path you take in life. So it's better to try to take a few paths to find out what path works and which one doesn't, than to be so scared that you never move along any path, right? So when you encounter yourself in this debate of, oh, I want to tell them, but now's not the time. How do I find that time? I'll never find that time, you know?
Mm.
Oh no, they're alone right now. I should go talk to them, but I'm scared and I don't. Because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to start. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all these things, right? When you catch yourself in those moments, ask yourself. This is what I had asked myself. I said, "Who are you? Don't you know who you are? You're awesome. Just go do it." You know, um, have some pride in that you exist in this world and that you are great. You have to kind of talk yourself into doing things sometimes, and then just start doing it, and then let it work out.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we try to plan how to talk, a lot of times when we try to say that thing, we start to fumble and and trip over our tongue, you know, so to speak. When I try to plan out an entire speech, it's more likely that I'll trip over a lot of words that I normally wouldn't. And also, if I try to um, just plan everything out before I even start, I get really worried about even doing it, right? But if I just go and improvise, if I just go up and just start doing it, I force myself into a situation that I didn't want to be in, you know, but I'm here because I know I have to be. I just go up and I start um, start the sentence, start the communication, start the subject off, and say, "Hey, so I want to talk to you about something," um, and then now I'm on the spot because what can I do now? I can't back out. They're gonna be like, "Oh, what's going on? Something wrong?" And be like, "Yeah, so you know, I don't really know how to say this, but you know, I've been kind of depressed for a long while, and I was wondering if, um, I don't know, you had any advice or anything that maybe could help me with or something. I don't know, you know, something like that, right? Because you know you better than me. You know what you want to say to them. I don't. But when you just start, it's a lot easier to continue because then you have momentum. If you try to plan everything out before, it's like you have imagine you have a little like imagine you have a bowling ball, right? Imagine a bowling ball and you try to push the bowling ball forward. That's not too hard. But now let's say you have a bowling ball and then you're adding all of this weight to it because you're trying to plan out everything you want to say about it, and the bowling ball is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And it becomes the size of a boulder. Now try to push it. It's not gonna do anything. It's really hard to budge. So it's a lot better when the bowling ball is small because then you can push it, right, with ease, and it will just start rolling. And that's kind of what we have to do to ourselves sometimes and just go for it. Instead of trying to plan everything out, we just have to go for it. And when it comes to being a bother, again, one thing that's important to remember is that That's, I mean, think about yourself. Are you upset when your friends have something they share with you and they're kind of being a bother? You don't even notice them being a bother. You're just like, oh,
Mhm.
let me help.
Mhm.
You know, when your friends are like, hey, I'm not feeling so well today, you're not like, oh, please stop bothering me. No, you're like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is there anything I can do to help? And that's the way your friends are going to be towards you. You know, I remember thinking about how much enjoyment I feel after helping somebody, right? Everybody enjoys helping other people. And one time I was kind of just praying to God and I was like, you know, it's it's an interesting thing because here I am, you know, and I don't know, like I've got my problems and here I'm complaining to you about them. And then God pointed out, he's like, yo, like, listen, you like when you help other people. Don't you think I get enjoyment when I get to help you? I
Mhm.
love when you bring your problems before me because that's being open to me and honest with me and intimate with me and being able to, you're giving me the chance to be a part of your life and helping you out. And that's the way it is for everybody. That's the way it is for all of us, right? Even if you don't believe in God or not, that's the way it is with your friends. And so don't worry about being a bother by opening up about how your day is going. You know, I think there comes a point to where somebody can be too negative, yes, when they're complaining all the time and all day long about every little thing, right? Yes, that is that is a bad habit and that will make life worse for yourself and everybody around you. But that is not the kind of person you are, Cloudy. If you're afraid of even talking and telling anybody that you're depressed, that's not the kind of person you are. So I'm not afraid for you in that. Um, you know, so yeah, just start. I think that sometimes you have to give yourself the push, that little push, and just like, I'm gonna go sit down, and then you just start walking. You know, I'm gonna go sit down next to that person and then strike up a conversation. And you just start walking and you sit down and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm here. And I say, and then you just like, hey, and you're like, oh my gosh, I said hey. And then they're like, hey, what's up? And it's like, hey, so I wanted to talk to you about something. And it's like, oh crap, now I've really done myself in. You know, that's sometimes you have to do. You have to force yourself to do things um, in order to change what you want changed. You know, you have to do something new. You have to go to where you haven't been yet to achieve what you do not yet have. Sometimes you have to go into the dark where you cannot see and just start reaching around to get what you did not know you could find. Because there's a lot out there waiting for you in this life. And happiness is one of those things that's there for you if you learn, if you start to reach for it. But it takes the desire to reach and then the action before you can actually grab it. And so keep that in mind when you go to talk to your friends about it, if you feel like that's necessary. Again, like I said, for me, getting out of depression was not going to open up and talk to people. It was just taking the actions to start changing who I was,
Mm.
because I knew who I was and I knew who I could be, and I was not being who I could be. I was always holding myself back. I was always being too afraid of what other people would think about me if I said this or did this. And once I started to open up and just say, you know what, I'm going to be the best version of myself, whatever, no matter what anybody thinks. And then when I started doing that, I started forcing myself to do the things that I knew were good and not worrying about or being scared of what other people thought of me, or especially when I was scared of what other people thought of me, doing it anyways. That gave me confidence and that made me proud of who I am. And when you're proud of who you are, you can't be depressed.
Mm.
That's just, those two are the opposite. When you are proud of who you are, you cannot be depressed. They conflict. So if you start to become proud of who you are, do the things that would make you proud, you'll find yourself in a happier place for sure.
Mhm.
But anyhow, I've talked for quite a while um, about a subject that I think that perhaps I could learn still a lot more about. So I'm gonna hand it over to Joe and let him give you some of his wisdom and story.
Well, what Ryan's talking about is spot on. I mean, all of that. I would encourage you to go back and listen to that again, um, because all of that. I mean, and I love the part right at the end where you were just talking about, when you're proud of yourself, you can't be depressed. Like they don't coexist. Those two feelings cannot coexist. And you're absolutely right. When you feel good about something you've done, or you feel, what, I did that. I didn't feel like doing it, but I did it anyway. And that was a good thing. So yeah, depression and that positive feeling of yourself, they don't coexist. And also, I love that what you said at the beginning about how, there's those two things that come together, and it's like having kind of a negative perspective on things, and then also being self-centered, like you're centered on yourself, like your thoughts and your feelings are all they're kind of coming back at you, and they have a negative slant to them.
Right. And
That
it's not like you're selfish, right?
right, yeah, you're
Like
right.
a lot of people who are depressed are not selfish at all.
Right, absolutely, and you are not
caring.
either. You even said you care about other people's feelings more than your own, and so you're not a selfish person. But when we're depressed, we're thinking about ourselves, and it's kind of a self-focus, not a selfishness, but just kind of a focus on ourselves. And I've dealt with depression for a long time. Akil says self-blaming. Yes, absolutely. That if there's stuff going on in your life, you blame yourself for them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing, I don't know how much you've heard this, Cloudy, but you are valuable. And I want you to really know that and understand that. You are valuable to the people around you, to the world. You're an anomaly. There's never been a person like you before. There never will be another person like you again. There's one you. And you're very, very valuable. You're infinitely valuable, in fact. Just because you exist. So many things happened. So many things in the history of our generations and everything all came together in a certain unique way, and now here you are. And that, when I think about that, that blows my mind. It, like, to me, it kind of proves that there's a God. There's some kind of orderer to all of this, because it just makes no logical sense that all this happened by accident. That is not logical at all. Like, I'm sorry. But at any rate, I don't know if you believe in God or not, but to me, that kind of just, I'm like, when I think about that kind of stuff, it kind of proves it to me. Or I'm just like, whoa, that this can't just be a random bunch of accidents. But so with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit of story. I struggled with depression for a long time. I remember my first bout with depression in second grade. And I remember, like, it was tough. Like, I mean, I didn't know what was going on. My parents didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden, I'm seeing a counselor at school, and I'm talking to a counselor at school. I'm talking to a counselor outside of school. I mean, my parents knew counselors that went to our church when I was growing up, and then also I ended up seeing counselor at school as well. And it was kind of helpful. It helped us to put things into perspective. It helps us to think properly about stuff, but I never really knew why. I never really knew why I was depressed. Two things as I grew, I mean, that was in second grade, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I knew I wasn't really depressed when I would set up boxes in the garage and beat on them with sticks. Because I knew I always wanted to be a drummer. I always knew I wanted to play the drums and stuff, and so that was a time when I wasn't depressed. And then when I got old enough to be in band, I was not usually depressed in band, but there were times when other people in band made me really upset and depressed and all that kind of stuff. But then another thing that was interesting, I was also on the swim team in high school, and I wasn't generally depressed when I was in swimming. And these things start to come back to me now that I'm older, and I start to look back. One thing okay, so that's kind of like the threshold, and went in and out of depression this whole time, right? And so it's like a constant up and down battle. And then I got to college, and I was at Michigan State University, and I was, it was my freshman year, and I just was so depressed. I remember I was so depressed I couldn't get out of bed. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do anything. I was just in my dorm all the time. My first semester grade point average was 0.4. And I was a National Honor Society student in high school. Like I had the gold, I was like one of the smart kids. I go to college, I had a 0.4 grade point average my first semester because I was so depressed, and I was just like, ugh. And finally, I ended up having a nervous breakdown. I called my parents. They came and picked me up and took me back, and I started seeing a therapist. And a lot of pieces started to come together. A lot of puzzle pieces came together, even like years after. But because I remember there's one thing. Now, this therapist, he was really, really awesome because he would just listen to me without judging me. He would just accept me for who I am. And that was one thing that I was not used to anywhere. I always felt like I had to live up to some kind of standard. And I don't know if you feel that way too, but that's something how I've always felt like I had to live up to somebody else's expectation of who I'm supposed to be. And who I want to be, well, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to be this instead. And I always kind of had that conflict going on in my head. And here was a person who just was interested to know who I was and wanted to know about me, and then didn't judge me for being any certain way. He didn't say my feelings were wrong. He didn't try to explain why I shouldn't feel a certain way. He just listened. And I remember the most impactful time I had with him was when he explained to me, because I was just like, I was relating to him about how, man, I feel like I'm letting everybody down. Like I'm supposed to live this life. And what am I going to do if I don't have health insurance? And what am I going to do if I don't have a good job? And what am I going to do if I don't have, all this stuff that comes with going to school, getting your degree, getting a good job, and then, all that stuff that comes with it. What am I going to do if I don't have that? And he said, I have some friends that I call them my parachute friends. I'm like, what do you call them? He said, because they just kind of parachute into a new town when they feel like it. And, they just kind of get acclimated to the place. They find work somewhere. They get a job. They experience the new area that they're in. They get a job, and they make money, they earn money, they save it, they try to live frugally, and then they save their money, and then they pick up and they parachute into a new city. Start it over again. And what they do that whole time is they experience the place that they're in. And they do just fine. They don't have all the stuff you think you're supposed to have. They do just fine. And that totally blew my mind. Because in second grade was the first time I ever heard about this thing called college. And that, yeah, you're going to go there after high school. And I'm like, I'd start to think I wanted to be a rock star. You know, I wouldn't know if college was going to be on my agenda. You know, like, but I also want to say, there's nothing wrong with going to college. There's nothing wrong with any of that. You just need to pursue a path, you know, that you feel drawn to. And so I would say this. Obviously, Cloudy, you are a creative person. And you have a very powerful mind. Most of the time, people who struggle with depression, their minds are so powerful. And the problem is your mind is working against you right now in that depression. And it's really strong and it's really powerful. And a lot of times, people who struggle with depression are also very creative. Because you can take a neutral life situation. I did this for years, where I would take life as it is, which is just basically neutral. It's not good or bad or anything. But then in my mind, I would create this horrible existence that I was living. And then it would make me really sad and really depressed and everything like that. And so I had that work, you know, it was amazing. But so I know you're creative and I know you have a powerful mind. So what creative thing do you do? Do you like to do? Do you like to write? Do you like to play music? Do you like to build, cook? What creative thing wakes you up? And I would encourage you to find time to do more of that. Because a lot of times when we're struggling with a really hard time, our minds are in high gear and it's the perfect time to create something awesome. And I think that's part of the reason why, you know, but I know for a fact that, I mean, I'm a musician. That's what I like to do. And so I've created some of the best stuff I've ever done when I was in a really, really hard state of mind, when I was really depressed or sad about something. I just broke up with my girlfriend. We'd been together for 3 years. And now, oh my gosh, now my life's a wreck. And, you know, that was when I wrote some of the best songs. That was when I was in one of the bands I was in. And so if you can find that, it can be very a useful experience. And then another thing, exercise. Start exercising, start moving. As I said before, when I was swimming, I wasn't depressed. And I learned later on that exercise does things chemically in you. It awakens things, it releases endorphins, you know, adrenaline, there's all kinds of stuff that happens. And if you're doing something physical, it can really clear a lot of that fog up that can cause the depression. So if you can start doing that, that'd be great. But now, getting to the thing about talking to a friend, Ryan addressed that. You know, sometimes you just got to start. Just take the first step and move toward it. And I will tell you this. I think it was Saigo who posted in the chat. Thinking makes it harder. Thinking about it makes it harder. It really does. Because the more you think about this conversation you have to have with somebody that you want to have with them, the more it turns into this big monster. in your mind. And it's really just this little tiny chicken. It's not a big monster.
Tiny
But we
chicken.
get, yeah, it's just a tiny chicken.
I like it. It's cute.
Yeah, they're cute. They're yellow, not the
Yeah.
not the big ugly chicken, right?
Yeah. Tiny chicken. Cute. They're yellow, just fresh from the egg. A little
Yeah.
wet.
um, but so that's kind of how to approach that. And I would, specifically, if you want to approach a friend and talk to them about it, sometimes friends might not know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. So when you do this, I would say choose one friend to talk to about it. And choose a friend that you feel the most comfortable with. Obviously, choose a friend that you feel isn't going to judge you. And I would choose a friend that's laid back. Someone who, isn't who's not an extroverted person. Someone who's the friend that you have that's just kind of quiet and hangs with people and smiles and laughs and, whatever. The one that's real easy to be with. Because that friend is going to receive what you have to say and still love you no matter what. I would imagine all of your friends will. But some personality types, they get in a situation, they don't know how to handle it, and so what they're going to do is they will either make fun of it or, pass it off as nothing or whatever, just because they don't know what to do with this information. They don't know how to handle it, and so they're just going to be like, oh, they're just going to whatever. There are people that's kind of the natural response there. So I would choose the friend who is the kind-hearted, quiet, reserved, everybody gets along with them. That friend.
That's very wise to say. Yeah.
And start there. Because, I think for you, it'd be good to get it off your chest. And also, don't close the door on professional help either. If you're struggling, you really can't figure it out, don't hesitate to call a professional. Because they have the training to really pinpoint what it is that's causing you to get there, to get to this depressed state. They have training to see that avenue and then to help you step through the remedy for it. So, yeah. So anyway, that's a lot. I apologize if that was really, really wordy and long and hard to listen to. But oh, and one other thing. Anything you can think of to be thankful for neutralizes depression almost instantly. When you're thinking of things you're thankful for, it's like one of those things Ryan was talking about, where when you're proud of yourself, it's impossible to be depressed. It's the same thing. When you're feeling gratitude, it's impossible to be feeling that negative, because when you're thankful, it's positive. So anyway, that's what I have. Ryan, do you have anything else to put a bow
Yeah, I
on
just
this one?
wanted to. You were talking about how Cloudy obviously have a very powerful mind, and Joe was talking about how you're using that against you, and I think that that's a great statement because that gives you the opportunity to realize that you can use it for you. You can use it to your own power, right? So if you've got a really strong mind, really creative, really imaginative, imagine if you just took all that negativity and turned it into something really beautiful, right? So if you're capable of making yourself feel depressed, what are you also capable of? Something incredible, right? something really powerful, something beautiful for the world, something beautiful for yourself, for those around you, etc. And so if you kind of think about that and think about what good can you add to the world, you're not going to go wrong. You're going to, if you focus on something, right? You focus on what opportunities around you exist that you can add good to the world. I think that that's something that um, helped me personally to get out of my depression, because then you're focusing on others, not just yourself, right? Not saying
Mhm.
that you only focus on
Right.
yourself, but you're focusing on others, which gives
Right.
your mind the ability to not have to pick on yourself, right? But then you're also automatically choosing something positive. You're saying, what good can I do for the world? Then your mind is focusing on the future and the bright side of it and not the negative side. So I think that that's a really good step. And also, the last thing I wanted to add was being thankful, like Joe said, is super important. Again, you can re-listen to all of this. Go ahead and listen to what Joe said again too, if you choose to. And being thankful is seriously really helpful. And a lot of times we think, oh, well, I don't have anything to be thankful of.
Mm.
Sometimes we find it hard to be thankful of something. I'm gonna get you started right here. I am so thankful. Thank God that I have a toilet. Because imagine if I didn't.
Hmm.
I'd have to poop somewhere. It would stink. It would just sit there in a pile. I mean, think about that. Be thankful you have a toilet and a bed to sleep in, and a roof over your head so it doesn't rain on you while you try to sleep. Be thankful that you have the ability to understand English and type here and speak with us. Be on the computer or the phone, whatever you are on. Be thankful you have all of these things. Be thankful that you live in an era where we can turn on light bulbs in the middle of the night so we can still see. Be thankful you have eyes to see with. Be thankful you have hands to feel around the room with when you can't see. You have
Hmm.
so many things you can be thankful for.
Yeah. Be thankful
Throughout
you
the
can
entire
scratch where it
life.
itches.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if you couldn't. That would stink. I'm sure everybody's been in that position, like holding two things, and they're like, my nose itches. It's not working.
I had that happen yesterday when I was sparring,
Oh, geez.
and I had a helmet with a face mask on and like gloves and stuff, and
Oh, a helmet, yeah, and then just like
I'm like, I can't
beating your
get to
face into the helmet. And you're like, it's itching it when I do this a little bit. I've done that. Like your hat, like something you're wearing, like a hard hat, and you're like pounding in your head. They're like, why are you doing that? It itches.
Yeah.
I can't scratch it. I have to bonk myself on the head. Yeah. There are plenty of things in life to be thankful for. And by being thankful, what you're doing is you're training your mind to start thinking about life as a positive thing so far. Because life is, here's the thing about life, perspective is everything. Things are good, things are bad. We are so quick to say that things are bad when they're not even bad. They're just things. And we get to decide, are they good or are they bad? You know? You find a spider in your room. Some people would go like, oh no, that's a bad thing because I'm afraid of spiders.
Mm.
Well, another person might be like, oh, there's a spider in my room. That's a very good thing because spiders, believe it or not, help clean the house. Yeah, they eat dust. They keep dust off of things. Yeah, they actually do. Isn't that weird? They
I
eat
thought they
dust.
ate blood.
You're thinking of vampires, Joe. I'm talking about spiders.
Spiders.
Spiders,
They
yeah.
eat other bugs.
They eat bugs. I thought you said blood.
Well, they kind of drink their fluids.
No, yeah,
But
spiders. Well, only some kind of spider drinks the fluids, but most of the time they eat the whole bug. It depends. But anyways, yes, spiders eat bugs, which is nice because they keep the bugs out.
I've
But
never heard they eat
they
dust. I
keep the bugs
imagine
out
they.
of the wood and things like that, and help your house stay alive longer because you don't have termites stuck in your
Yeah.
walls because you have spiders instead, which don't eat the wood. But yes, they also eat dust.
Really?
Yeah, pretty neat, huh?
So if you have lots of spiders, your dust won't be, or your house won't be as dusty.
Yeah, so it'll just be full of spiders.
I have
Um,
seen some pretty dusty cobwebs in my day.
oh, that's right. Cobwebs are very dusty. That's true. But usually only if the spider doesn't live there anymore.
Yeah, probably. You're probably
Yeah, you
right.
don't usually see a dusty spider web while the spider's still there,
Mhm.
usually. Anyways, and if there's a dusty spider web, there's just like not enough spiders per inch of that area. That's all. Anyways, that's just a random example, right? People consider things bad or good. They're so fast to label things bad. It doesn't mean they're bad. You know, when we experience pain, we think, oh, I don't like that feeling, so therefore it's bad. But it's not always bad. Sometimes pain is what creates the great things in life. That's what trains us to be good. That's what trains us to be stronger. When we exercise, we're literally feeling pain. But it's through that exercise that we gain muscle to become stronger. So pain is not pain is not a bad thing. It's a really good thing. It's all a matter of how you look at things. And so being thankful also trains our mind to look at the world and say, these things are good. They're not bad, they're good. And that helps us to look at ourselves and say, this thing is good. It's not bad. It is a very good thing. And so, yeah, being thankful is helpful. And I hope that you can try to maybe if you want to take anything away from this at night, maybe in the morning too, whatever you feel like, you can sign your own vow, if you will, but at night and when you wake up in the morning or just one of them, think of 5 things that you're like, wake up and list off 5 things you can be thankful for. Even if it's something as silly as, I'm glad that I have hair on my head. I'm glad that I have toenails. And I'm glad that I'm not bleeding. I'm glad that I have blankets, and I'm glad that I have a toilet. All right, I did it. But maybe it's something deeper. Maybe it's something that you can be thankful for in your friendships. Maybe you can be thankful for um, the blessings you have and the pains you have. You can be thankful. Like, I'm glad that I'm going through this struggle right now because I know it's going to change me later. It's going to make me an incredible person because you
Yes.
can do that. But anyhow, sorry, I
Yep.
went on a little bit long, but anyways.
If you're here and listening, I see you're still here, Cloudy. So hopefully you are still. But anyway, if you have something to write with, write this down. And you can write just write the words, what am I thankful for? And then next, what am I looking forward to? And then next, what am I going to do today to move forward? Those 3 things they're kind of like the vaccine for depression in my life. I have this exercise where I think of 3 things I'm thankful for, 3 things I'm looking forward to, and 3 things I'm going to do today to move forward, whether it's toward those goals or just move forward in general. And I do that every day, and I like mark off on the calendar that I actually did that exercise. Like it's that important to me to do this because it does keep my mind on the right track. It helps me. You gives yourself a good attitude by what are you thankful for, and it makes you think forward about your life. Like, what am I looking forward to? Oh man, it's gonna be so great when I don't have to be in school anymore, or it's gonna be so great when I don't have to do this job that I do anymore. It's gonna be so great when I pick my nose later. Like something.
I feel something in my nose. It's gonna be so awesome when I pick it later.
Yep. So, but it puts you in a forward-looking mindset rather than looking back. A lot of times, depression, you're looking back at something and you're like, I'm such a failure. I failed at this. I failed at that. And those are things that we beat ourselves up about, and we end up in a depressed state. And we start to think that our future is just going to look the same as that, But we do have things we can look forward to if we train ourselves to look for them, and then take some steps in that direction. What are you going to do today? What are you going to do? to move forward. Now you're thinking action. So you're thinking gratitude, forward thinking, and action. And those three, nail it. But, and Ryan wrote it in the chat for you. Yes. Because he's amazing. But
I figured that would help because I was like, they might have a pen and pencil ready or whatever. So,
right. That's awesome. I could have written it down too, but Ryan was thinking about it.
It's not a competition.
You're right. It's not.
I love you. I love you still, even if you didn't write it, Joe. I am
thankful
so mad
for Ryan for writing that.
I had to do that for you. Oh.
I'm looking forward to a day when I can be as intuitive as Ryan and write the things in the chat that should be written.
Forward to the day where I can actually uphold how good Joe thinks I am, and like, because I'm not.
Yep. But at any rate, Cloudy, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for posting and having the guts to do that. It takes guts to do that. And I saw your post earlier that you almost reached out for professional help and chickened out at the end. I did that so many times before I actually made the phone call. That's okay. It's okay. And
yeah, that's like another thing we talk about, self-forgiveness. It's okay. Mm-hmm. We all of us, the happiest of us are the people who forgive themselves the most.
Yeah.
And the people who are the happiest are the people who like realize they make the most mistakes and forgive themselves.
I get to forgive myself all the time because I'm always making mistakes. I'm always messing things up. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a weird, it's one of those things. It's like, this is one topic that you could talk so much about because there's so many different aspects of it. But there's a lot that I hope that we covered that made sense to you, and it helps move you forward in your life. Even if we couldn't really help, I definitely hope that you'll get through this one way or another. And I'm sure that you will.
Yep. It's going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And keep coming back. We'd love to hear what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep coming back and mentioning, what's going on with you and everything. If you ever run into something else, feel free to post it. If you just things are going great, feel free to post it. Mm-hmm. You can, we didn't mention this at the beginning, but you can post stuff on the website. You can send us an email, dww@bss.studio. Feel free. Send us an email about anything. You can post a topic, or if you just want to say, hey, send us an email.
Yeah, if you want to be anonymous, you can send us an email and say, hey, I want to be anonymous. Don't tell anybody who I am, or I will spill wine on your best, beautiful, whitest dress. You can say that.
Yeah. If you decide to shave your head like me,
yeah,
take a picture.
Take a picture.
Send it to the email. Yep. Or Discord. Find us on Discord. Actually, find Princess Orion on Discord. I feel so bad. I don't get on there nearly enough.
I like that, Psycho. Don't be sad today. Don't be sad today. I like it.
Nice.
Cool. So would you like to do another one?
Do we have
I mean, we kind of even dragged that one out a little bit longer than we need to, and we still technically have time. But of course, if you have to get going, it is quite late. I would totally understand.
It is a bit late. It's a bit late for me.
Wait, Ryan, why do you have a white dress? Because it's cute. Psycho says. It's just something we should know.
We would like to do this show every day. I love doing this show.
Mm-hmm.
We can only do it on Wednesdays now, though.
because that's all the time Joe has.
Everything is so stinking busy.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But it's a good kind of nuts because we're moving forward in a great direction. Those of you who were around when we did the Kickstarter campaign, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
More Criminal Idol stuff is coming out. You know, we've got plans for even more. We've got a conference call like tomorrow. We're planning even more stuff. I mean,
With Amri yesterday, we talked about the next It's Not Like I Like You song.
Yes.
Yep. All sorts of different stuff.
Yeah. I got together with Steve from Black Static and Swerve. You guys haven't heard Steve in a long time. Yeah, I got together with him on Monday. We spent 8 hours in the studio.
Seriously? That's awesome.
8
Man,
hours.
I'm jealous. 8
That's
hours
one of the
with
reasons
Joe,
why I'm
I'm
so
jealous.
exhausted.
Even with Steve, is awesome. Steve's actually really cool to hang out with.
Yep. It's super fun. It's super cool. But yeah, we structured a bunch of songs. We played together again. We hadn't played together in a long time. And he's done a lot of work on songs that I've done. He did all the guitar solo stuff on Message to Pop Culture. The next song that's coming out, he did a lot of work on. In fact, I'm thinking about releasing that under a band, not as my solo act. Thinking about doing it as a band. We even came up with a band name, but I'm not going to say it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I might say it in private when nobody else is around under a blanket with all the lights out.
Wow. Well, I'll be listening. I'll go find that blanket.
Yes.
And get under it real quick and listen.
So anyway, but yeah, we should probably wrap up. I don't see anyone else here that has a topic in the queue here.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so 4 o'clock comes pretty early.
Yeah, it does. That's only 5 hours away from now. And you probably still have things to do before you get to bed, so.
Yeah, but I live on 4.
I know.
I've gotten it used to be 4.5. Now it's 4.
Really?
I'm working my way down. It's good.
Still working your way down, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Akil, you haven't finished your topic.
Yeah, you got to work on that.
Yeah. And I tell you what, I see you said you have a dream to do Don't Be Troubled Thursday.
Wait, who?
Akil.
Akil wants to
host the show. And now him and Saigo are talking about doing it.
Guys, do it.
Yeah. Yep. Pick a day.
Let us know.
If you're on YouTube, and then links, please. Post links. But absolutely do it. You got YouTube. If you got a smartphone, you got a camera.
You don't even necessarily need a camera. You could do a podcast without any visuals, but
you totally can.
It's good to have.
Yep.
It's good to have something for people to look at. People like to look at people's faces, as weird as that is.
Yeah, a bunch of Don't Worry Wednesdays that I listened to were ones where the Beta Cat and Ryan were they just had a picture.
Mm-hmm.
They just had a picture and they had some cool music going in the background and they just talked.
Yeah.
And it was cool. So yeah, totally do it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Oh, main character.
Cause I'm a main character. You know, Joe sang that as well as I did.
I did sing a little bit. I played some guitar in that. I played drums in that. That was fun. That was a fun song.
Yeah, it's good.
Wow, that was a long time ago too.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you to the lurkers. Thank you, Princess. Thanks, Jesse. You're awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ryan. You did great.
Yeah. Yes, you guys are amazing. And yeah, so at any rate, again, like Ryan said, thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
See what I have to say. Hey, Cherry, you're back. We're just closing down.
Yeah.
So welcome back, and feel free to watch what we did while you were gone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You could do that.
Yep.
Thank you for everybody. You guys are
Yes.
awesome. Thanks for providing us with content, and thank you for opening up with us and sharing what's going on in your lives, and allowing other people. Like, honestly, that's amazing to me that you seek out and even would care to listen to the things that other people might have to say about your problems.
Hmm.
A lot of times, not only is that scary, a lot of people's like don't want other people to try to help them because they assume that other people don't know what they're talking about. I know
Right.
that was me for most of my life. Unfortunately, not most of it. By now, it's only been about half of my life, but still, that was me for a very long time. And I was like, yeah, no one would understand me. No one would even get what I'm talking about because they're not me. They didn't experience this. But the truth is, we're all human. We all have the same emotions that we run off. A lot of the same reasons we do things. So it's
Hmm.
really awesome that you guys are wise enough to listen to other people's wisdom. And I wish I was that smart when I was a kid. So,
Me
yeah.
too.
Not that you guys are kids. I'm just saying when I was a kid, I wish I was that smart because I wasn't.
Hmm. I wish I was that smart for most of my life. That I wasn't that smart.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. And go to bss.studio, check it out, hang out, post some stuff, create some stuff, share it. We love to see it. If you want to start another show like this, do it.
Yeah.
And let us know about it. Post
Yeah.
the links. In fact, there's a guy, Joe, the slightly above average Joe.
Joe Bohan.
Yep. He's actually a colleague of ours now. And one of the things that was really, really amazing was he started Take It Easy Tuesday.
That's right.
So you should check that out. It's on Twitch.
There it is.
He streams
Nice.
every Tuesday. Yep. And it's awesome. So you can go watch that one on Tuesdays.
Yeah. Yeah. Psycho, Akil, if you guys do something, please do. We want to give you all the support in that. Let us know so we can check it out too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So sweet.
All right.
But
We'll see you guys
you
later.
guys are awesome. We'll see you next week. Don't worry Wednesday on Wednesday.
Yep.
Where Ryan will be the host.
And Joe will be the awesome guy.
I'll be the guest. What has 2 thumbs and will be the guest next week? This guy.
Oh, shoot. Why do I have 2 thumbs then?
You'll be the host.
Oh, okay.
At any rate, if Jesse hasn't cut us off by now, see you guys later.